everybody, welcome back to This Random Journey. So today we're going to be doing an object lesson about God's will and purpose in our life and our calling on our life. So for this lesson you're going to need acrylic paint that is mixed with water and Floetrol. I have white, a magenta, and a blue, but you can use whatever color you want. I just put them in these little containers and I shake them up. Make sure you shake it really good before you begin your object lesson. So you will also need just a little plastic cup and a white canvas board. Make sure that you have your table covered. I just have a tablecloth. And then also go ahead, just for good measure, put down something on the floor just in case you have runoff. You don't want to get that on your Sunday school floor. Your pastor and pastor's wife might not be too happy with you if that happens. So other than that, you're all set up, ready to go when class starts. And of course we will do added things before we get to the object lesson, but I'm just going to show you the object lesson and you can build the rest of your lesson around that and kind of use this as its own little part of your lesson, which is what we are planning to do. So let's get started, and I'm just going to act like I am in my class doing my lesson. God has a plan for each and every one of our lives. He has planned it out ever since we were babies. He has planned out our whole life, and He knows what He expects of us. In Jeremiah, it talks about how God has thoughts of peace and not of evil, and He has an expected end for our life. So He expects something out of us. He expects us to do something for His kingdom. He expects us to one day come and live with Him in heaven. So God comes into our life, and He gives us the Holy Ghost. And He pours the Holy Ghost into us, and we are filled with the Holy Ghost. Now that alone is amazing. And God has given us the Holy Ghost, and it helps us with so many things. It gives us peace and joy. And the Lord has just given us so many amazing things just with the Holy Ghost. But then He doesn't stop there. God also gives us people in our lives. He brings in our pastor, and he begins to speak through pastor, and pastor begins to pour into our life, and he just begins to speak into our life and pour into our life what we need to know to do the Lord's work. And so pastor speaks into our life and pours into our life a little bit. And then God also has given us talents and abilities. If I could open this, God has given us talents and abilities. Some of us are really good at playing a sport, or maybe you're really good at playing an instrument. And so God has given us those talents, and He has poured into us, and He has given us those. And then we can get refilled with the Holy Ghost, and He continues to pour into our life, and more people come in and speak into our life. And God gives us new talents, and we maybe learn how to speak in front of people like we learn at school. You know, sometimes you learn to speak and do different things. As you grow up, you learn new talents, and you're able to do things you never could do before. So the Lord has given us all these amazing things. He has given us the Holy Ghost. He's refilled us. He has given us people to speak into our life. He's given us talents and abilities, all these amazing things. But sometimes things come into our life, and maybe it's a trial or something that was unexpected comes in our life and stirs our life up. Just stirs it up. And to us, our life looks like a big mess. I mean, doesn't look like that pretty. It just looks like a whole mixed up mess. And we don't see how the Lord could ever use us. We don't know how He could use this mess of a person, how He could use us for His kingdom. We can't understand it. In Proverbs 3:5-6, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path." He already has an expected end for us, and He says that if we will trust Him and follow Him, that He will take us down that path that will take us to that expected end. And so what we have to do as Christians is we have to know, okay, I'm going to trust the Lord, and I'm going to do what the Lord wants me to do, and I'm just going to keep on working for his kingdom. I'm going to keep on doing the things that the Lord wants me to do. And if we do that and we pour out all those things that God has given us in our life, we just begin to pour them out around everybody around us, to everybody around us. Then guess what? The Lord can make something amazing and something beautiful for his kingdom. We might not see it. We might not understand what he can do. We might not understand that he can use us the way that he wants to use us anytime he feels like it. But we have to be willing. We have to be willing to work, and we have to be willing to listen to his voice and willing to do everything he wants us to do. And if we will do that, he will use us, and he will make something beautiful. So that's the object lesson, guys. At this point, my husband would probably take over the lesson while I cleaned up my hands. And we would probably talk about ways that we could work in the kingdom, things that we could do to help the kingdom, ways that we could pour ourselves out into God's work, and how we could ultimately begin to use all the things and all the talents that God has given us.
And let's pause right there and let's rewind all the way back to whenever I was talking about our supply list. I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and buy 2 canvas boards, because we used 2 canvas boards whenever we did the lesson in class, and it turns out that we dripped the paint onto the second canvas and made a second painting. And we talked about how that was how we pour into other people when we pour into the kingdom, and how their story is going to look totally different. So I suggest that you do that, and it actually helps with the mess and you don't waste any paint. It went over really well with the kids.
I hope you guys liked this object lesson. If you did, or if you liked this video and like to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.